Alright guys, in this episode of Chasing 80s, we are going back to 2022 to look at the original releases in McFarlane Superpowers. We have Superman, we have Darkseid, Green Lantern, The Flash, and last but not least, the Batman Who Laughs. This unique figure is amazing. I really want to get into the comic, but let's start talking about it and let's get these toys open and take a look closer at those figures. Alrighty, we are stepping back in time to the McFarlane Toys new for 22 Superpowers line, and the first in this series is the first and most iconic superhero ever created, Superman. And of course, we see him in his classic 80s look with the blue tights, the red underwear, the red boots, that classic Superman S and cape, blue eyes with that curl in his black hair. This vintage packaging is oh so nostalgic, bringing back all those warm fuzzies from those 80s Superpowers figures. And here we see the first three figures in the new for 22 collection: Superman, Darkseid, and Batman. Of course, Superman is the Man of Steel sent to Earth from the dying planet of Krypton as baby Kal-El was found by farmers Martha and Jonathan Kent and raised as their son Clark. In this series, of course, we had the vehicles of the Batwing and Supermobile. So without further ado, let's get this Superman out of his fortress of solitude and into our grubby little hands. Alright, here he is free from his packaging. And there you can see that iconic sculpt. You get a close-up on the head there. And it does have a point of articulation. Of course, the arms move up and down. There's no articulation at the elbow or hands. The legs do move. They have that pin joint to replicate the style of the old Superpowers figures. Pretty good sculpt, very reminiscent of those early Superpowers figures. And of course, he does come with his cape. One of the, and it looks like it is a clip-on cape, as you can see here. This is fresh out of the packaging. One of the annoying things is it was clipped on, secured in there, so somebody, I guess, couldn't try to steal it with one of those close tags, which of course puts a hole right in the center of the cape. Very disappointing. Really annoying that they did that to this figure. And of course, that cape does feature that iconic Superman S on there. So let's see if we can get this on old Kal-El here in a way that looks decent. And it is creased, as you can see, from being in that packaging, which again, very frustrating, and that comes right off very easily. Okay, one of the other things I noticed here is you'll notice there are no peg holes in this. Ladder figures in this line did feature the peg holes, so that is kind of frustrating. Let's see if we can balance him here enough that he will stand up. There he is. This is the slowest we can make it go. Let's see if he will stand up, and he will not. So there you have it. When they don't put these things with peg holes, they become very unstable. It's partly because the way that they're molded down here, the PET plastic, the PET, is very susceptible to warping. You can see the ankles are, not straight. They're kind of pointed inwards, which makes the figure really loose. Thankfully, later in this series, they did introduce the peg holes, but these early figures apparently did not. All right, next up is Darkseid, and this is a big beefy boy. Again, part of the new for 22. says Darkseid is the ruthless tyrant of the war-torn planet of Apocalypse and one of the most powerful beings in the existence. Driven to conquer the universe, Darkseid searches for the anti-life equation, which will grant him control over all living things. It's time to get him out of the package and see if we can't get him on his way searching for that anti-life equation. All right, there we go. Darkseid from Apocalypse. I almost mixed him up with the Marvel characters there. As you can see, he's got these bright colors. And let's take a look at it. He is pretty hefty. The hinges are not all that tight. They're not super loose. Now the leg is super tight. Knees okay. The arms are pretty loose. Of course, that head doesn't. There it goes. Broke it loose. It turns a little. You can see you can get about maybe a range of 90 total degrees in there. And he is beefy. Of course, he's got that symbol of the arms. Got some quality issues. Some of the plastic is still connected there from the molds. Not cleanly removed. It's got this pattern on the back. And of course, as noted with that Superman figure, we've got no peg holes, which means you're not going to be putting this on any kind of a stand. So there you go. There is Darkseid in all his glory. Alrighty, our next figure in this line from Superpowers and the new for 22 begins the second wave of that year, and that of course is Green Lantern. And this one does come, as you see, with that accessory. There he is. I believe this is more of a 90s, late 90s era Green Lantern. It is John Stewart, a former U.S. Marine who uses his military training and discipline to protect Earth and the rest of Space Sector 2814. As a member of the intergalactic peacekeeping force known as the Green Lantern Corps, as Green Lantern, John wields a power ring which creates a protective shield around him, allows him to fly, and generates a hard light energy construct in the form of anything he imagines. Fueled by willpower, Green Lantern's power ring is one of the mightiest weapons in the universe. Now, of course, this is that iconic Green Lantern of the late 90s. I can tell you that my favorite Green Lantern was Hal Jordan, and that figure has been released by McFarlane Toys, but I have yet to acquire it. So, this will go well with some of our other figures, so let's get him open and take a look. Okay, here he is. And of course, all these figures we are looking at today from the 2022 line of Superpowers all stand 5 inches tall. Of course, that Darkseid figure we just took a look at stands about another inch taller. But in general, they're all 5 inches. You can see here, typical sculpt we've been looking at. Got those points of articulation. Of course, he's got his ring of power. See that closer a little bit. Probably not going to focus on there. But it is sculpted on there. And again, no feet pegs for any of that year, even though this is the second wave of 2022. Still no peg holes. Put him down. There. Let's take a look at his accessory. Of course, this is the infamous Green Lantern. I don't remember the full speech. Something by Green Lantern's light. Sunny delight. And his hand is molded so that he can hold the lantern, which of course is used to charge his ring. All right, there we go. Got his lantern in hand. Too bad you can't bend these at the elbows. You might be able to actually charge his ring. But There you go, John Stewart's Green Lantern. Bring him up, give you a closer look a little. Let's see, there he goes. All right, let's jump into the next one. Who doesn't love the Flash? Of course, Central City is the home of the Flash, which is modeled after Kansas City. In the DC universe, of course, Gotham being New York by night, Metropolis really New York by night, by day, but you could probably lay claim to other cities. But Central City is meant to be Kansas City. And of course, this is the second figure in Wave 2 for 22, and in a freak lab accident, forensic scientist Barry Allen was struck by lightning and doused with chemicals which gave him the superpowers of the Speed Force. Now he uses these powers to defend his hometown of Central City from the forces of evil as the Flash. I really have never been a big Flash fan, that is until the WB. I really think they did a really good job with the Flash on the WB series. The Flash, of course, on the old Justice League cartoon when we were kids was always fun, but still never a big thing. Never a big fan of him, as opposed to Superman, who was my guy, and then of course Batman, late 80s, who wasn't a fan of Batman. But Flash certainly grew on me as the WB series went along. Unfortunately, it did stay around too long and petered out there at the end. But what a great series, and what a great looking toy. Let's bust this thing open and get a closer look. Okay, there he is in all his glory. Let you get a good look at this figure, the back, the sides. Great sculpt, great looking figure for this little 5-inch Superpowers. Great addition to the line. Alright, last but not least in this new for 22 lineup is the Batman Who Laughs. Of course, you may be able to tell from that sculpt or from that art maybe who this Batman Who Laughs is. And of course, this is number 6 in that 22 line. It says, born from the nightmares of the dark multiverse, the Batman Who Laughs is a hybrid version of Batman and the Joker from Earth 22. This is certainly a unique figure, and I believe, at least, of course, in Superpowers, this is the first time this figure has made it into the lineup. So let's crack this thing open and get a closer look. Alright, before we open this, I wanted to give you a quick look at the hack to open these in a decent way. I mean, this is kind of a damaged package, so it's a good one to show you. But essentially what you're going to do is you take a box knife, an X-Acto knife, something sharp, and you'll cut along the bottom like this. Once you've cut along the bottom, you want to go down the sides like that. Some people go here and one side, but I like to do the two sides like that, because then you can open it up, you can slide your finger in there, and you can just pull that figure out, and the package snaps right back into place. So now you have your figure where you can just pop him out, and you have this little bit that you can just slide right back in, and now you have as near mint as possible packaging with the figure out. You don't have to worry about ripping the package when you take the figure out. If you decide to put the figure back in the packaging because you don't want it out in display anymore, you can put it right back in there and it will look great. Or if you want to display it back in the packaging for another reason, you can do that. So with this figure free, let's take a closer look at the sculpt on that face, see if we can get that to focus there. And that is really interesting. Got that big ear-to-ear grin, the spikes all around the eyes. Got some detailed buckles on the straps and vest. So really a lot of nice detail. You can see the ridges across the straps to give them some texture. Got this nice coattails, which does kind of flap, so you can see those coattails. Again, there's a texture on this. It's pretty nice that matches the texture of the pants, but not necessarily the body. So it gives this top part more of a leathery look as opposed to the cloth look and feel. It's kind of a matte versus gloss on this back. Very interesting. And of course, now we can take a closer look at the Batman Who Laughs. All its glory from all those angles. Very cool figure with those metallic ears for the bat, the tails for the cape. Very cool. Actually, I've never read this comic. It makes me want to go read it. This figure looks so good. Again, my biggest complaint with these superpowers is because they are trying to match kind of those 80s figures, it just doesn't have the modern articulation. It would really be great if these had those elbow joints, the movable feet and wrists or shoulder, upper shoulders and waist, so you could really give these things some action poses. All right, guys, there you have it. We took a look at the original 5 releases from that 2022 line of McFarlane Superpowers. I really love these, and as I said, that Batman Who Laughs is so unique. It's great to have a figure in the lineup that just is outside the box of the normal DC heroes. And, we've got the iconic classic Superman. We've got Green Lantern, of course, the Flash. You can't say enough about these classic DC characters. What did you think? Are these toys worth your time? Are you going to pick these up? Do you already have any of these superpowers? Let me know in the comments. They really do help with the algorithm. And as always, if you want to see more toy videos like these, smash the subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications, and thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate you watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. So until next time, have fun.